begin with Milt. What brought you to Pemberton?
Well, that's a 2-day story. I arrived in Toronto. I got off at 7:47, arrived in Toronto, and I took a limousine from the airport to the train station. And there was a train parked there that was the newest train that we'd ever seen in Canada. And it was an atomic train run by a NASA.
Sweetie.
And I saw all the cars were named BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. So I walked down to the BC car. I had a suit and tie on and overcoat over my arm. And I thought, oh, BC car, yeah, I'm from BC, I'm going to get on. So I got on. The train was taking off to Montreal. No tickets, no nothing, I just walked on. And when the train took off, a Mountie in red serge came on and sat down beside me. And I kind of looked around and I was getting very uneasy. The guy had been stationed in Squamish. And he told me about Pemberton, and he said, you won't believe it, he said, I had to go up there once a week and invoke the law. He said, but everybody knew I was coming because they sent smoke signals from Squamish to Mount Currie. And they were all like angels when I arrived there. And he made it sound so interesting, I had to come and have a look. So I came up to look, and I got off the train, and of course everybody in the old Pemberton Hotel was staring out the window at me, which was normal for Pemberton. And I bumped into Dale and Larry Allen, who I had met in Vancouver. They used to live next to me, oh, I don't know, 50 years ago. And they told me they had a hotel in Pemberton. And there I was at the hotel. And they made me feel welcome. Everybody in town shaking my hand. I thought, well, this is a nice town to be in. I said, how many people here? 271.
Oh.
I thought, perfect. You know, nobody would know me. At the time, I was working for Greyhound Lines of Canada out of Ashcroft. And I got frustrated and I got sick of the job because I was never home. So I quit, and that's how come I ended up in Toronto. Anyway, as we go on with the train, we hit a semi-trailer loaded with meat. And 47 people were injured, and I was one of them. And the Mountie was another one because I was on top of them. Oh, what a train trip, and an atomic train, I'll tell you. So I thought, well, I'm going to go look at this Pemberton. So I got back on another plane the next day, flew back to Vancouver, caught the bud, BC Rail bud up to Pemberton, and had a look at it. Then I went home to tell my wife. And she thought, oh boy, here we go again. I said, oh, it's a lovely little town, you'll just love it. I said, but let's give it 5 years. 5 years, and if you don't like it, we'll move. Okay. So I sold everything in Vancouver, got a 5-ton truck, and brought it to Pemberton. Took me 6 days to get here. Got just north of, I can't remember the creek now. But anyway, there was a mountain slide. And it all came down on the road and the railway track. So we sat there for 24 hours hoping they were going to open it, which they didn't, because another slide came down behind me. So I had no choice but to sit there. There was my wife and I, my dog, my cat, and my son. I didn't have my daughter then, did I? No. My son. And BC Rail brought in a car for us, and we spent several nights in there eating steak dinners. My dog was eating steaks that thick, compliments of BC Rail. But eventually the road opened and we got through to Pemberton. She thought, oh boy, why did I say yes? But here we were. I had been trained by the Vancouver Fire Department. I'd driven ambulance in Vancouver for Kingsway Ambulance, which has since blown up and long gone. So I did know a bit about the ambulance service and firefighting. When I got here, I didn't tell a soul, not a soul. And one day I met this guy by the name of Roe Mercer, and he said, how would you like to join the volunteer fire department? I said, oh no, it's too dangerous for me. Oh, okay, just thought I would ask. Well, this went on for about 3 years. And then my training officer from Vancouver came to Pemberton looking for me. And he bumped into Roe at the hotel. That's where he met everybody. And he said, oh yeah, he says, I trained him. And he said, I was his captain at hall number 9. Oh yeah. Of course, Roe was lit up like a candle, he said, oh boy, here's new blood. So he went to the mayor, which then was Ben Cherry. And Ben Cherry met me the next day, and I said hi to him, kept walking. And he said, oh, by the way. And I said, what? He said, we're looking for a fire chief. Can you take over the fire department? I said, no, I don't know anything about it. And he said, well, that's not what I'm led to believe, he said. And he told me about Roe meeting this guy. And I said, well, let me think about it. So I took a month and thought about it. Next thing you know, I was there. So I went down and I looked in the fire hall and I thought, oh shit, what kind of crap is this? There was an old beat up truck with no roof on it, and they told me the temperature went down to -30. And I thought, we can't drive that. There's no snow tires on, there's nothing, there's junk. And there was another van there that all this junk came out of. And I believe that they attempted to do one trip as an ambulance. And I think it broke down on Suicide Hill. So I looked at that and I thought, no, I can't do that. So I thought, well, we've got to get going on this. We've got to buy equipment. So Ben Cherry said, well, how much are you looking at? And I said, oh, I don't know, 100,000, 150,000. I said, that's a good start. I said, there isn't enough hose to even light a fire. So we have to have all new hose, and we have to have proper gear. There's no gear in here. There's a helmet with a hole in the top. I said, we've got to get rid of that. And got to get rid of all this stuff. I said, it's no good. And they came up with a bit of money, about 20%. Told me to go ahead and spend it. Well, a taxi trip to Vancouver was 20% in those days, so I couldn't do much. But as time progressed, we got rid of the old van. So anyway, we ordered a truck. It was a 71. In 71, we ordered a brand new Ford. And then we got rid of that other piece, and all of a sudden there was pressure put on me to do this and do that and do that. And I thought, well, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I incorporated the fire department with search and rescue. We started up search and rescue in the 70s. And we bought another new truck it was a 65 GMC, wasn't it? Didn't that come before the Ford?
Yeah, I think it did. Ford was the first
Yeah.
one.
And then all of a sudden we had one truck too many, so we had to add on to the fire hall. And then a few years later we had another truck too many, so we had to add another bay on to the fire hall. And I see now they just added another bay. So it progressed as time went along, and all of a sudden more and more people were coming into Pemberton. And we got more and more calls, and pretty soon it was vehicle. I said, well, we need a rescue vehicle. So we ended up getting a rescue vehicle. And then all of a sudden it was water accidents. So we bought a 20-foot Zodiac. And then they thought I was spending too much money. And I said, well, if you're going to give the service, you've got to spend money. So I decided that we needed a vehicle for search and rescue, but the village didn't want to give me any. So I got hold of BC Tel and told them about all their workmen that were going to drown because we couldn't get to them because we had no vehicle. Well, BC Tel came out with a vehicle. So now we have a search and rescue, the first vehicle.